Welcome to the Come On podcast, where we bring you truth in the trenches. This is Zach.
My name is Sawyer. Today we're going to be jumping into Acts chapter 4, verses 32 through 37.
Yeah, we're happy to have y'all here. Come on and join us.
Come on. I don't think I've ever seen you in joggers like that. I've seen you in those thin ones, the ones that you wore on XCC.
Yeah.
Are the green
Are you
ones?
talking about the pants that have been through the land of Egypt? Dude, I seriously, every time it is kind of cool though, honestly. But I'm like, every time my wife says something about them or anybody, I'm like, you know they've been through the land of Egypt.
Didn't you have you brought clothes on XCC, you wore them, and then you kept them in a bag and they got ruined or something?
So all of my they're honey hole, my favorite shirts. The honey
Shout
hole, the honey hole like cotton. You know what I'm talking about, fishing shirts.
Yeah.
I had three of them on that trip. They're all I haven't thrown them away yet. I'm gonna try them one more time, but you know how that works. When they get sour, they're pretty much done.
Burn them.
Yeah, shop rags.
That's right.
So
How's your week been?
that's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I know we're not talking about it, but Exodus 16, ever since Brian mentioned that, has been like on my mind. I've been able to share that with some other people too. It's really helped them, or gonna help them.
Yeah.
Read through it. So just a good week. Trying to stay focused day by day and live life to the fullest, I guess.
Yeah.
How about you?
It's been good. I'm going to read Exodus 16 to Kirsten tonight.
Yeah.
It's just like to kind of talk to her about that. That's really cool. I love that. And I'm glad that he brought that up. But my week's been good.
Yeah.
I want to go squirrel hunting.
I do too. We should all go squirrel hunting. A full team retreat.
That'd be fun.
I know where to go.
Where?
The only thing is we need a couple extra four-wheelers or side-by-sides.
I got a four-wheeler.
Get everybody.
Side by side. Well, I say that. My four-wheeler has a broken tie rod, but I got a side-by-side.
Yeah.
I can use it.
We could probably duct tape the tie rod and make it work.
How hard can that be?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was going to say just a tie-in for anybody listening. The Exodus chapter 16, just a quick highlight for you, is if you're going through, you're constantly worrying about maybe the next day or how you're going to afford this or that, or how you're going to do this or that. Read Exodus chapter 16, but also read some commentary on it. Maybe listen to a YouTube video, and that's going to give you exactly what God expects from us.
Yep.
So, and there's more verses than that. Like the common one everybody refers to is why worry, or tomorrow has enough worries of its own.
Yeah.
Just worry about today. Basically, it's same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Why? Jesus, and Jesus said that.
Yeah. So you got it in the Old Testament, and he's still like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm God's still providing for you every day.
Must be pretty important.
Yeah.
I read this morning. It was pretty cool. And man, me and Brian were talking about this today. Like, you read things, you hear all these Bible stories about things in the Old Testament, and you just don't really think about them. Like, I'm reading 2 Samuel right now, which is David. And you hear about David all the time, but man, like this is good. This is good stuff. I'll tell you what I read this morning. Let me find it. There it is. It's 2 Samuel chapter 3. It's like the first verse. There was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, and David grew stronger and stronger, while the house of Saul became weaker and weaker. And you just have to go, for context, you'd have to go and read you'd have to go read 1 Samuel. But Saul spent his whole life tracking down David, trying to kill him, out of jealousy, out of greed, and he just hated David, and David was nothing but good to him. Even spared his life twice when he could have killed him.
Yeah.
And it says right there, Saul spent his entire life, trying to cure this thirst and hunger for jealousy that he had, this hatred that he had towards this person who really didn't even care, was scared of him, was like trying to get away from him, but was like he had nothing against him, other than he was trying to kill him. And it said Saul, the entire time he was trying to chase him down, was just becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. And the whole time, David was just growing and growing and growing, becoming stronger and stronger. So that kind of, if all we focus on is, trying to cure our thirst and hunger for the things of this world, whereas David was just focused on pleasing God and doing his will. If we do what the world wants, we're going to become weaker and weaker. If we do what God wants, we're going to become stronger and stronger. That was just cool. Yeah, and it's like, I would have never read that if Old Testament's awesome.
I know somebody I need to send that to.
Oh, yeah?
You know them too. I'm not mentioning that for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
So you need to read your Bible.
Do it.
And what's cool is, man, telling somebody else your struggles or your problems, and they've either been through it before or they've read the stories in the Bible and can share that with you, and it just really, man, you talking about like a spirit lifter. Just that's why it's called the living word too. You read that, let's just say, like for me, Exodus 16, and it spoke. I've already read it, but it spoke right to me. Keep diving into it, learn some more. So
it fires you up too.
Yeah,
like it kind of sparks something new in you.
That's true. Just speaking on reading the Bible is every morning, dude. And I'm not perfect for sure. I don't think anybody is, but if you get up, read the Bible, and really read it and study it, dude, your day is just different. I know we've said that a bunch, but it's just true.
It is. Everything in around you tells you not to do it. Satan's going to try to convince you any way he can to tell you not to do it. And then you just got to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, guys. We are at the end of chapter 4 in Acts. We've got verses 32 through 37 left. You want to just read those?
Yeah, sure, I can. So it's titled, They Had Everything in Common. Now the full number of those who believed were of one heart and soul, and no one said that any of the things that belonged to him was his own. But they had everything in common, and with great power the apostles were giving their testimony to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was upon them all. There was not a needy person among them, for as many as were owners of lands or houses sold them and brought the proceeds of what was sold and laid it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to each as any had need. Thus Joseph, who was also called by the apostles Barnabas, which means son of encouragement, a Levite, a native of Cyprus, sold a field that belonged to him and brought that money and laid it at the apostles' feet.
Seems like such a short little passage there, but there's a lot to unpack.
There's so much back there, yeah. I really, I want to try, when I read that, I just try to compare it to like what we do today, and it's so hard to. And I know times are different, and you can't really compare their time to our time. But man, like as far as the humility and the self-sacrifice and the love that they had for one another, like you almost can't compare it to today for a lot of people.
Yeah, majority.
And this isn't like a finger in your face, like you need to sell everything you have and go give money to somebody. But it's like, man, they didn't waste any time. Like that was their first instinct, was to I just gotta love somebody. Who can I love? And where's that here?
Yeah, I think an important thing there is they didn't just. I was trying to relate it to today, just like you. But they didn't just. I'll give you the example that if you got a buddy calls you for a flat tire, now most people are like, oh, or they make an excuse and they can't go help or whatever.
Yeah.
And you think about though, like if we were in community like they were, having unity and sharing everything, you would get that phone call And then you'd be calling like your buddy that has like a tire shop or somebody that knows somebody and trying to find them a tire, or
Yeah.
whatever, and going to help them.
Yeah.
The whole community works together, and
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot in our men's group anyway,
Yeah.
because that's what I'm involved with. But
Yeah.
people having a flat tire, and you got 10 people that are like, "Where you at?" And
Yeah.
actually go show up and help.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time I've ever seen that my whole life has been in our men's group.
Yeah.
So
I'd say, and literally the first thing that comes to my mind whenever you say that is that time I was fishing with Jeremy. And, and my boat shut down, and I called you, and you were at dinner with your family, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna bind. And you said, well, let me finish eating here, and I'll be there. And like an hour later, you were rolling up in your boat, and all you did was crank my
push start.
You cranked it up. I was like, oh my gosh, you had your kids and your wife in the boat with you.
Yeah,
But it's like it's stuff like that, like drop anything, and that was just the first thing that came to my mind. But like, man, I bet everything in you was like, screw this. Like, I'd rather be, I know, but like,
I know what you mean.
I'd rather be. I could be doing anything else, but because you're a loving person. Like you choose to love first. Like and you've trained your brain, and you've trained yourself to react in that way.
Yeah.
Rather than tell me to drag.
Yeah, and I think you get probably everybody gets that initial like, oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just because you're
It's
so
human
used
nature.
to like
Yeah.
we're selfish and all that.
Yep.
But just like them, dude, it says they sold their possessions. First, it says no one claimed that any of their possessions was their own, but they shared everything they had.
Mm-hmm.
So use that as like I don't know how to relate that to today. I mean, it could be anything though. It doesn't have to be as big as like a car. It could be somebody needs I don't know, a fish fryer for their fish fry at their house, or something like that. Or they talking about a fish fry, but they don't have a fish fryer, and they would love to do that for their family. And you got one, or somebody that does. Well, get it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just I know that's a weird example.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Living sacrificially.
Yeah, it's not really ours anyway.
Yeah.
Ultimately, most people don't want to let anybody borrow anything because they might break it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I do understand that if you borrow like a car or something, it gets broke.
Something very expensive.
I get it. But a lot of things we're just holding on to because like it's mine. I paid for that. Yeah, I'll rent it out to you or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just our culture.
Yeah. A way that and I'm not going to give specific examples, but like a way that I try to discipline myself with that is like, I'll find those things. Like if someone asks me like, hey, can I borrow, I'm really weird about my stuff. My dad was like that growing up. He's not like that anymore. He's one of the most sacrificial, like whatever's mine is yours now, kind of guy. And, it's really cool to see. But like growing up, my stuff was my stuff. Like I had two sisters and, they weren't playing with G.I. Joes or anything, but like my stuff was my stuff. If I found my stuff not where I wanted it to be, then I was mad, and I, as I grow up, I get more expensive tools. Like, I couldn't imagine 5 years ago letting somebody use my hunting rifle or my bow, but now it's like, I find those things that like, if someone asks me, hey, can I borrow this? Or, hey, man, I really like this, or, this gun or this jacket you have or whatever. If I in my head, if they're ever like, can I buy it from you? I've had it happen a few times where someone was like, I like blank. Would you ever sell it? And like in my head, I'm like, oh shoot, no, I'd never sell it. Like this is mine, and the Lord's kind of, and I might be stupid for this. I don't know, but I just feel like this is what God wanted me to do. But like, if I feel that weird gut feeling of like, man, I could never part with this thing, instead of selling it to them, I have to give it to them.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to create that discipline. So
You're basically not tying yourself to
yeah,
material things.
and because if I don't do that, then I'm gonna stay married to that thing. Like no one's gonna be able to touch that. That's mine. And so I have to detach myself from that, and not saying that like God's gonna reward me one day. Like, oh, if I give my bow to somebody, God's gonna give me a better bow, or you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like nothing's gonna own me. Nothing like nothing is going to control me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep, that's good. I looked up some definitions because it says all believers were one in heart and mind. So, like, what does that mean? So, or my version says heart and mind. Does yours say heart and soul?
Heart and soul.
Yeah. So that's the version that I went off of actually.
Okay.
Because anyway, I don't usually use
What's
this
that
Bible.
one? That one's in NIV.
This is NLT, I believe.
Okay.
I always forget. No, this one's NIV. So I've been using ESV and my other one's NLT, and I've been in the ESV a whole lot more than what do you have?
ESV.
Yeah. I've been in the ESV a whole lot more, and it says heart and soul too. So
Yeah.
but to define heart and soul, so if you think about heart, that refers to like our mind or like affections,
Okay.
and then soul would refer to like life or our being, like a human being.
Yeah.
And so they were in one. It's so crazy that all the believers were one in heart and mind. And that's what you were just saying. Like I can't even think of like a group of people that are like that today.
Yeah.
Now, and I say that, I mean like largely.
Sure.
I do know a bunch of people in Christian community that are pretty well aligned with their heart and their soul. Just because like you can just, I don't know, it's almost like somebody, I'm trying to think of an example. Like we did something one time and I was thinking about doing something and I went and told somebody else and I didn't tell them what I was thinking about doing, but they said what I was going to do. It was for somebody.
Yeah.
And it was just cool. So I'm thinking of trying to relay that, we were, I guess, in one.
Yeah.
In mind, at least.
Yeah.
I would say heart and soul at that point.
Yeah. Like you're both mission minded. Like you're both, your brain automatically goes to, how can I love people around me,
Yeah.
And that's so, I think of like us going to that Arkansas trip, with all those men. And it's like, those are men that the majority of those men there, I know I could call up at any time and they'd be there no matter what, and it's like, and I know that anybody, some random whoever, if I told them like, hey, I found this homeless dude that you've never met before, that I've never met before, and he needs blah, blah, blah. I bet you I could find it, out of those men, you know what I mean? And it's like, just because, it don't matter that we don't know him.
Yeah.
We just love him.
Yeah.
Period.
It reminds me of a sermon I heard when I was living in Mississippi. It was, how can I leverage me for you? Instead of we're so like, what can I get from them?
Yep.
How can I use them to benefit myself?
Yep.
Instead, you turn that around. How can I leverage myself? Like, what can I do for this person to benefit them?
Yep.
And that's just that's definitely a heart posture, no doubt.
Yeah. That's man, I just and like that's that can be literally anything. Like, and we always think like money, like our brain automatically goes to money, and that's not even. I've been listening to this guy Chad Wright. I was talking to you about him this morning. I know a lot of people probably know him. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's a ex-Navy SEAL, super solid guy. Loves the Lord. And he lives in, the Appalachian Mountains. He owns like 700 acres out there. And like, he goes to the grocery store for like milk, and eggs
Yeah.
or milk and flour.
Whatever he can't grow, basically.
If that, and like country dude. And and like I said, he lives in the Appalachian Mountains, so there's all kinds of poor people around him. People that literally, like, it's not even deer season, they're deer hunting.
Yeah.
And no one says a thing because they know they got to eat.
Yeah.
Like, that poor. And, man, and you see that, and he sees that, and he's like, he has all this wealth, all these, things that he can do. And he goes squirrel hunting just about every day. And his whole life, he hunts. And so, and he was talking about on this podcast, he was like, yeah, man, I hunt just about every day, blah, blah, blah. And Joe Rogan was like, well, how much squirrel do you eat? Or how much deer or bear do you eat? Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, actually not a lot. And Joe was like, what? He was like, yeah, I mostly just give it away. And it's like, man, that's cool. He spends all his resources, all his time. He said when it's squirrel season, he's in the woods squirrel hunting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said one time he was squirrel hunting and a bear charged him, and he shot the bear. And he said he loves bear, and he was like, he called this dude up that lives a few miles from him, and he said, call everybody get them over here. We're about to skin this bear. And they all brought plastic bags, and they were just giving them bear meat, you know. And it's like, bro, that's ministry right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
That's just loving people, man.
Yeah. That's an awesome. What a ministry.
Yeah. And I try to compare that. That's I don't want to say that's an extreme, but like, I mean, we live in West Monroe, so I'm not going out there and killing a bunch of squirrels and giving them to people. But
what else could you do?
You know what I mean? Like, what are the resources that I have? What has God blessed me with that I can do for other people?
And we don't have to. Another thing that people get hung up, like you said, we go straight to money, but it could be anything. But we don't. It doesn't have to be like this big grand thing. Mm-hmm. If we want to relate it to money, some people think a $5 bill is a whole lot of money. Like that makes it goes back to Exodus 16. That makes their day. Like now they've got money for food and to sustain for the day.
Yep.
Or let's just say you had some deer meat or something. Go give them that deer meat. Well, dude, that just made their day or week possibly. Depending on how much you give them.
Right.
So you never know what you could. I think I was just thinking about like a homeless person discernment. There is you could, if you see them on the corner a lot and feel led to do it, you could bring them some deer meat and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they can build a fire and cook it. I mean, or
right.
figure out a way to cook it. So,
right.
Yeah.
Or cook it and bring it to them.
Or bring them a plate.
Cook them something. Yeah.
That's a good idea. And you talking about just like if you did that for somebody, what would that do? What are the possibilities there for a salvation moment, or like just to show them love, show them Jesus,
Like, wait, you thought about me and you brought me food?
Cooked and brought. Food. Like, that's a big deal for them. That's a good challenge.
Ooh. I do like that. And I don't know. And we can always make all these excuses. And I know, and I'm saying all we do, but I do. All the time. I make all these excuses. Like, I don't, God's blessed me with a home. Me and Kirsten bought a house earlier this year, and it's like, I have all these dreams. Like, man, I want to have small, I want to have people over. I want to love on people. I want to, use this home for ministry in some way, shape, or form. And it doesn't even have to be something huge. Like, I want people to know that when they come to Sawyer's house, they're loved. In some way, shape, or form. And it's like, every chance I get, I'm like, man, I haven't had any alone time. Like, I want to spend time with my wife, which isn't a bad thing, but like, there are times where I'm like, I'm using that as a crutch, to not clean up the house so I can invite a bunch of people over. You know what I mean? And, it's just one of them things. You got to discipline yourself, and you just got to let God move and do his thing. Use your stuff that he's given you for his kingdom. Yeah, and quickly. And it just feels like, there's no we don't have any time. Yeah.
Not when it comes to salvation, I'm saying, and doing ministry for people and saying, you think about somebody that you want to do something for or whatever, or that is not saved. Well, there's not next week, possibly.
Yeah.
There's not tomorrow.
That's right.
We've got to hurry.
That's right.
I'm bad about that too, putting stuff off. I've got a few things that just come to mind that just put them off. Think, well, I'll just do that later. That's selfish, though, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you think, well, I'm good. You're not really thinking that, but that's your actions are saying that. I'm good. That maybe they'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'm
All
bad
right.
about that.
So they shared everything. They're sharing everything. They're not claiming that it's their own. And then the next part here, 33, says, with great power, the apostles continued to testify to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus. And God's grace was so powerfully at work in them all that there were no needy persons among them. So I'm thinking about that. They're all sharing. They're giving stuff to everybody, and as they're doing sharing and giving, they're telling them about Jesus. That's just what we're talking about. So you're giving stuff to people, or doing good deeds for people, or whatever, not to build ourselves up, but to let them know about Jesus, to build him up, build his kingdom.
Yeah.
I think that's and making sure that, I think that's there on purpose, that we need to make sure while we're doing these good deeds that we're telling them about Jesus, and that's who actually we're doing this for him.
Yeah.
We're just a vessel.
Yeah. We had a Christ Church serve team party the other night, and that was one thing that Pastor Ryan said. He was like, man, whenever you're passing out offering plates, he's like, you're passing that offering plate for Jesus. Whenever you're driving that old lady in the cart to the front door, you're driving Jesus to the front door. Whenever you're, fill in the blank, whenever you're opening the door for somebody, you're opening the door for Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's what Jesus,
good.
he said, whatever you've done to the least of these, you've done to me. You've done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm calling myself out, if you've been driving down the road and you've seen that homeless person or that old lady changing that tire, whatever, and you just keep on driving, and I'm not trying to guilt you. I mean, I don't know the circumstance, but like, I know there's been times where I have driven by and I very well could have stopped, and helped, but I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
And he's like, you did it to me. And so that's tough.
I know the Bible also says don't let your left hand know what your right hand is, but I'm going to give you an example that I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me. I'm just an example.
Yeah.
So I was pulling out a road and just looked to my right. I was at a stop sign, looked to my right, and there was an 18-wheeler stuck. I mean, I could see his wheels spinning. He wasn't stuck in the mud. He was just stuck because of the angle of this road that he was coming out of. And so I'm in my F-250. I've pulled a truck out before, and I was like, okay, well, I could do that. What I'm saying is, what's crazy is usually I would have just turned, because I was going the other way. I would have just turned and went on. That's his problem, right?
Yeah.
Just something told me, hey, just run down there and see if you can pull him out real quick. I didn't have a chain or anything. I was hoping he did. He had an 18-wheeler. Surely he's got something,
Yeah.
Anyway, so I pulled down there. I asked him what was up, and he said that it was just he just needed to back up and get more speed, but there was a hill both ways, so he was worried if he got out there and a car come over, they might hit.
Yeah.
So he's trying to do it easy. But anyway, so I was like, well, how can I help you? And he said, go up there and block traffic, and then I'll back up and gun it. I'll be able to make it. And so I pull up there and I stop traffic. Of course, the girl's like doing this, and I'm like, because I'm just parked in the middle, and I was like, just hold on, And he backs up. Takes him a minute too, and he backs up, and then he guns it and gets out. It's not that big of a deal, to me, really. Yeah. But I was thinking about that as I was driving forward, like, what was he thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just always wonder, like, that little act of just, like I said, it wasn't even that big of a deal. I just blocked traffic for 5 minutes. It wasn't that big of a deal. But what was he thinking?
Yeah.
If I would have just went on the other way, he might have been stuck. Or could have been a bad wreck.
Yeah.
Because actually that car that was coming was hauling butt, and I actually didn't know if they were going to stop. I actually waved my hand out the window. I was like, holy crap, what are they going to hit me? But anyway, that's just a small example of like discernment. You feel led to do something, let's act on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you never know what opportunity is missed there.
Yeah. And not even just for another person, but just also like for you, you know, like there was a time last week actually, and I felt pretty convicted about it. I was at a gas station and someone had spilled some drink like on this little table where they have a little coffee making station at this table, and someone spilled some coffee and left, you know, just the spilled drink right there. And I was kind of in a hurry. I was headed to a job. And so I walked past and I saw it, and I kept walking, and something told me like, hey, turn around real quick and go clean that up. And I didn't.
Yeah.
And I got in my truck and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I felt it, but like, you know, in that moment, and I'm confessing it now, but like in that moment, if I would have, you know, turned around and cleaned that up, like nobody probably would have seen me, you know, and whatever, but that would have, what would that have done for me? You know what I mean? What would God have taught me in that moment, you know? And so and it goes back to the small compromises that we've talked about before, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I could tie that in when I myself or my kids. I always slouch down on this couch. You get so comfortable about to fall asleep. Like my kids, whenever or anybody, they pull something off the shelf, and then like say we're not gonna get it, and they try to just put it anywhere. I do not. That is like one of my things. I do not let them do that, and I don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's because it's just like, to me, the same thing as not putting your grocery cart in the cart return and just leaving it in a parking spot.
Yeah.
It's just those small compromises. So
That's real.
rabbit hole.
No, I mean, that's like, everybody does that.
Yeah.
You know, nobody thinks about it though.
Yep.
We're on 34.
Let's see.
Yeah. No. You went halfway through. 34.
Yeah, I went to, yeah.
For as many as were owners of lands or houses sold them. That's crazy. And brought the proceeds of what was sold and laid it at the apostles' feet. We read that and we just read it. That's crazy.
Like it was nothing.
They sold their land and their houses.
Yeah.
And just gave it away. That's love. That's love. That's not necessarily, that's love for the ministry. Like that's ministry. And I mean, they love the Lord.
Yeah.
You know.
I could tie that to, I believe, to tithe. And I've kind of, as I've been reading this, kind of thought about that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that we sell our houses and use that money for tithe. I mean, hey, if you feel led to do that, do that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, people, and one of my things pre-Christian was always like, well, you're just giving that money to the church and they're just do whatever with it.
Yeah.
And anyway, you know what I'm saying? All the things that we say against tithing.
Yeah.
You know, but if you think about it now for a Christian, if maybe it's not a house or land, but maybe we have like I don't know, man, a old 4-wheeler or old anything. I mean, you think about like, let's just say it's an Xbox you don't use anymore. Put it on eBay or take it up to GameStop. If they give you $50 or $100, give it to the church. Like how. And we're not doing things to make ourselves feel good, but like you said, it does inspire us and kind of fire us up. Like, makes you a part of the ministry, you know, and part of the kingdom. And so, just little things like that would be a way that, and that's the way I look at this now. Would be, if you want to look at we're not necessarily giving it to. When we read this and think about laying it at the apostles' feet, we just think about the group of 12. Most of us are thinking about a group of 12 dudes walking around barefoot. Now we have to picture it as, okay, well, it's the church body or the church of, say, like for us, it's Christ Church. We're giving that money to them.
Yeah.
So, and it goes back to the conduit. Actually, we're just letting it go from our hands to theirs. They're letting it go to the next hands, and so on and so forth, you know, and it's all to build the kingdom.
Yeah. And it could just be to pay the light bill or the water bill, you know,
Yeah.
and but that's ministry.
Yeah.
You know? We don't think of it like that, but you know, we all want to think of ministry as like, oh, we're going to Guatemala this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let me send my, you know, whatever, however much. But it's like, no, I mean, everything, you know, that the church does should be ministry.
Yeah.
And it was distributed to each as any had need. That's crazy. That's crazy. So if you were in need, someone sold their house to help you out.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's nuts. Thus Joseph, who was also called by the apostles Barnabas, which means son of encouragement, a Levite, a native of Cyprus, sold a field that belonged to him and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet. Wonder how big that field was.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if it had big 150 class white-tailed deer on it.
As a high fence.
Yeah. Man, that's nuts.
This is a point to that. What we were just talking about is not trying to live by to earn like God's favor by what we do, but to live it generously because we received generosity. So, or we received favor. Excuse me. So and God knows our heart, and we can sit there and say, well, he did that just so he could look good or whatever, but God knows your heart. And it's just like your left hand not knowing what your right hand does, or whichever way that is. Or me telling the story about the 18-wheeler, I'm not telling you that to brag.
Yeah.
And some people could take it that way. Well, he's just mentioning that, so he'll look good. No. We're just giving practical ways that you can share or be generous with your things, or like selling the Xbox. If you sold the Xbox and gave that money to somebody that needed it, or to the church or whatever, you're doing that because you've received favor from the Lord. You had that Xbox, which is a surplus because you don't use it or don't need it, or maybe you need to quit playing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's an extra surplus that God has given you. So sell it, get the funds, and give it to a ministry.
Yeah.
And you're doing that out of literal just love because you've received favor.
Yeah. So. The Bible says, do nothing out of selfish ambition, but in everything, do nothing out of selfish ambition, but in everything, I forget the last part.
Yeah, I think
do nothing out of, there it is right there. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. That's Philippians 2, verse 3. But in humility count others more significant than yourselves. So count yourself lesser than everyone else around you. Try to be the quietest, the lowliest in the room. You know, that's so contrary to how we think and how we are geared. All we think about is ourselves. We wake up, think about ourselves. We go to sleep thinking about ourselves. Or at least I do. And like that is totally opposite of how we think. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I've got one more note from Spurgeon here. I use him a lot. I know. Nert.
You're trying to say Spurgeon and note.
Yeah. I got one more spurt from Spurgeon. He says that he's talking about the unity here, and the visible unity and generous living are powerful gospel witnesses. So he's just talking about the actions of it, not just talking about it, but like we're talking about in our men's group, where somebody's posting there and they have a need, and then all of a sudden these people don't just talk about they're going to help people. They are helping
jumping
people.
on it, yeah.
So that's visible unity and generosity, and that he's saying that's a living testimony to the gospel by itself, and it reflects Christ's love. So what I'm thinking about that men's group and how many people have come through like men's retreats, and maybe they like claim to be a Christian or thought they were a Christian or they are one or have been one truly for a long time,
Yeah.
and have never experienced a brotherhood like what comes out of that retreat. A lot of people have after that retreat, or men's retreats. And you know what's cool is you don't even have to go through the same men's retreat. You can find people that wear these bracelets, or they've been through a retreat, and you just have this immediate like connection with most of those people.
Yeah.
It's a brotherhood, and I've seen so many of those men come through and have an experience like the flat tire that's happened several times. So I bring it up. Have a flat tire experience, or hey guys, I need to move something, but I'm just not able to. 10 guys go show up. Hey, I know this lady needs a wheelchair ramp. Wheelchair ramps built in a couple days. Done for no charge, just literally out of love.
Yeah.
I've seen so many dudes come and have those experiences, and get plugged in to church because of that. And then when you ask them, like, what drew you in? Like, why are you so fired up? And they're like, dude, I've never experienced love like this before in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't know dudes would actually help each other out without like there being like a game plan to it. Like I'm gonna do this for you, and then wait till I need something. I'm gonna get you back. You're gonna owe me.
Yep.
It's just not like that.
Right. Man, that works for like fellow believers too. The most loving thing that you can like, and this is gonna sound bad, but like, man, I sit there and I wait for one of my friends' family members to die, because that's when it's like, okay, I can love this person really, really how I need to in this moment. I might not be the most perfect person in that moment, but like I want to show up and I want to clean your house, or I want to show up and I want to mow your yard, or I'll take out your trash, I'll bring you food, whatever you need. I want to show up and I want to be that for you.
Yeah.
And that's the most loving thing that you can do for someone in that situation. And and they never forget that,
No.
They never forget that. And that doesn't just go with like death. That goes with, if one of your friends or your family members has a miscarriage or something, or, something tragic happens, save that date on your phone. And then that, whenever that anniversary rolls around, hit them up. Say, hey, I'm thinking about you today. Show that you go out of your way to care. Mm-hmm. Any way that you can go out of your way to love somebody. And it's like, you saved the date of my dad passing away in your phone, and you hit me up. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that would be insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, you love me so much,
Oh yeah.
And
that's a good challenge for everybody too, is to even if it's like a surgery. I'm not good at this. I need to get better. At one point I was doing fairly well with it, and I've just kind of slacked off. But when somebody says, hey, Dad's having surgery, or I'm having surgery, or I got a doctor's appointment at 7 a.m., on the 21st, put a reminder in your phone. Maybe it's the night before, just text them, or maybe that morning, just text them and say, hey, I know you got that appointment today, or, they're having that surgery, just praying for you. And man, you talking about, I've had people do that to me, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's really moving, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet.
This is good. I love that we I love that we left that one. That was 4 verses, and we did almost an hour podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I don't remember what I was going to say. That's good to do live on the air.
You just embarrassed yourselves in front of millions and trillions of people.
Millions and millions and millions.
Gazillions.
All right, so we have finished chapter 4. We'll be in 5 next time.
That's awesome.
I think, just thinking about, I was going to share the Trump thing that Chad made where it talked about our podcast.
Yeah.
I literally posted it and I deleted it. I was like, I'm not dealing with the politics
so
stuff.
funny,
I don't even care. I just thought it was funny, And then I was like, okay, never mind. There's a lot of people that hate Trump, and there'll be some issue with it.
I showed it to. I'm not going to name names, but I showed it to some people, and they just rolled their eyes. They're like, "What the heck, ever?" I think it was funny.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It was the fact that the president was talking about our podcast.
Yeah.
That was that. And then I realized, no, I better not share that one. Yeah. So awesome. Yeah, if y'all are listening this far in, we appreciate it. We have made it to episode 35, and we're loving it.
I am.
The next, hopefully, we have guests lined up for the next few. May even have a couple extra episodes, especially with the holiday time coming up, which we haven't even talked about that. But going to try to push out a few extras to end the year. Figured it'd be pretty cool. Maybe drop 1 or 2, 3 extra, something like that, with some guests and things, and keep trying to go on acts outside of that. So just look forward to that. Follow us on Facebook, like it, whatever you do on Spotify and YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. That helps us out. Share it.
You can go in Spotify. I know because I have Spotify. You can rate the show, and 5 stars would be really cool. That would help us a lot.
Yeah.
Unless you hate us and do 1 star. And just don't leave any stars.
And please don't leave any stars.
Just leave 5 stars anyways.
Just remember, though, before you click that 1 star, WWJD.
And we have all the addresses to where you live. So
that's awesome. Well, look, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great week, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah. Love somebody. Love y'all.
Come on.